Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hello everyone. My name is Sampurno and I'm from local A1. So today I want to talk about uh, reading and teaching principle, but I'll only talk about the approach that already conducted in the past. Okay, so the first approach that conducted in the past there are three approaches, okay, that we will talk. Okay, the first is phonic decoding approach. So phonic decoding approach is a method of teaching reading that emphasizes the relationship between letters and sounds. This approach teaches children to decode words by breaking them down into their individual sounds, or what we call it phonemes, and then blending those sounds together to form words. This approach also known as the bottom-up approach because it's focused on building up from the smallest units of language to the largest units of language. Okay, so this approach will helps children to understand the basic structure of language and develop their decoding skills. And also they emphasize the importance of phonemic awareness, which is the key component of learning reading. But they always overly focus on phonics that abandon the other reading skills such as comprehension and fluency. So yeah, that's it about phonic and decoding. Next is the whole word approach. The whole word approach is a method of teaching reading that emphasizes the memorization of whole words rather than the relationship between letters and sound. This approach teaches children to recognize words by sight rather than by decoding them phonetically. This approach also known as top-down approach because it focuses on understanding the meaning of the whole word rather than breaking them down and then tear them apart. So this approach will help to build vocabulary and language, but they doesn't teach phonemic awareness or decoding skills, which can limit children's ability to read new and unfamiliar words. So it will be their limit. Okay, that's it. And the third or the last is 4-phase reading program developed by Dr. Ruth Steinberg. The 4-phase reading program developed by Dr. is a structured approach to teaching reading that is based on some principles of reading education. The program includes 4 distinct phases: word familiarization, word identification, phrase sentence identification, and paragraph, stories, and books reading. So in the word familiarization phase, students learn to recognize the high frequency words through repeated exposure and practice. In word identification, students learn to decode unfamiliar words using phonics and other words analysis strategies. In the sentence identification, students learn to identify phrases and sentences within a text. And the last, students will apply their skills to reading long passage such as paragraphs, stories, and books to learn and to use context clues. So overall, 4-phase reading program provide a comprehensive approach to teaching reading that emphasize both phonetic decoding and whole word recognition, and includes a range of strategies to build comprehension skills. So this approach will provide a structured approach that can be effective for children with a range of learning styles and abilities. But the weakness, it can be time consuming and research consuming to implement, too much consuming, and it may be not effective for some children who need special instruction or have significant reading difficulties. Well, overall, each approach have their strengths and weakness, and it will be effective for depends on what the student needs and their condition also make it the things that need to be determined. Okay, well, I think that's all about teaching and reading principle, about the approaches for reading teaching. Well, I'm Cahyo Sampurno, signing out. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye.